Alright you guys, it is February the 8th, which means Epic Universe is opening in some amount of days, very, very soon. My ticket is in July, early July? I'm not going to tell you guys because it's in July, and that's great. Very excited to finally get a new park in the Orlando area, especially for a new Universal park. We've only been able to see them try their best at what limited space they have here in Orlando, so now they have a lot more space, and it's not going to be as constrained, so that's really good. I want to go through it and talk to y'all about kind of just all of the different attractions coming in, because we've got a lot of different ride manufacturers. We have a lot of different in-house builds, or maybe not fully in-house builds, but ones that have more hands-on. That's really cool to see as well. So this is going to be the first new major theme park in Orlando since Islands of Adventure in 1999. I was not alive to see the grand opening of Islands of Adventure, sadly. I was born in 2000. This will be the first park opening up in my lifetime. Orlando really needed more theme park capacity, although I think that this is just going to draw more people, we'll see, to the Orlando area, and then maybe just make crowd levels worse, but who knows. And recently even, like, waits have been just skyrocketing everywhere. They have this really nice map design laid out. Really like the hub and spoke design. I know the Magic Kingdom went with that, and I don't know of any other parks that went quite with the hub and spoke design in the Orlando area as heavily. It'll be really good for guest flow. Yeah, it looks like the paths in the park are going to be larger, kind of to act like kind of looks like a holding area in the middle of the park with a bunch of entrances all in the one area, allowing people to just like kind of disperse through the edges of the park faster. We are finally getting an in-park resort. None of the parks in Orlando have an actual in-park theme park resort. The closest you're getting is Cinderella's Castle. You cannot rent it. I only think that you can win it or be offered. I saw somewhere that some people had offered some pretty heinous amounts of money, upwards of 10 grand, and still have not been able to get in. So they're surrounded by a bunch of expansion pads. It almost acts as a buffer. It's a lot larger than the little expansion areas that they had for Islands and for Studios. Now, I'm wondering if parts of this park are going to be able to be open later at night, because Studios and Islands, they close pretty early. I think that's because of like probably some sort of rules with the city. And I mean, it is in the middle of Orlando. For whatever reason, they usually don't operate later than 10 p.m. Maybe they would be able to operate a little bit later, maybe push the 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock hour more often instead of cutting off at like 6 to 8 o'clock some days. I'm wondering if they'll also give them a larger building height limit. Now we have the traffic circle that's coming up. I think that this is kind of hilarious. It's kind of unnecessary, but they're using buses, so that's better than cars. Still isn't a train. I mean, I guess we can't get a train, but we're gonna get buses, and that's really cool because it has its own designated bus lanes. With this new park opening up, obviously things are gonna be no different, if not more busy, so we're really gonna need this. So we have Celestial Park. I will say that I did see on Twitter the other day, somebody took a picture of a lighting display inside the park, and it reminded them of some of the lighting displays inside of World Celebration over at Epcot. And as I've been looking through, obviously I can tell that there's a distinct theme here, and it's different than just the World Celebration I think that Epcot has going on. But with that being said, there were some pretty funny similarities. I mean, it is just very much so a park. I mean, Universal, I think, referenced this as a land to put the park back in theme park. I think World Celebration was also kind of billed as like putting the park back in. Everyone's going crazy over putting the park back in theme parks because we're all realizing that we'd like a little more nature instead of having concrete everywhere, which is so valid. Even with theming, a lot of the times we like theming and some trees and things, especially for shade and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty rough over in Toy Story Lands with what do I want to call it? What should we call it? Umbrella strip instead of the Vegas strip, the umbrella strip? I digress. Celestial Park is specifically themed to artistic pursuits and exploration. So the vibe kind of seems like Da Vinci meets outer space also meets the arts, but all in a lush garden. It looks cool. I think it's a great original concept. The Helios Grand Hotel looks so nice. It's gonna premiere as the sole resort inside of Epic Universe's main gates. It's got Mediterranean theming, it looks like, focused around connecting the mythical gods with the world, and named after the Greek god of the sun, Helios. Constellation Carousel. This carousel looks so cool. It looks much different than any carousel on the market currently, almost akin to a hybrid between a carousel and a flat rides, like one of the flat rides that's pulling more rotational forces or more varied types of spinning. It's got the same kind of design as the classic carousel attraction, except for this time it's going to be constellation themed, and we have like a Pegasus on the roof, I think that is, and stuff like that. So this is really cool. Seats are going to rotate in addition to the normal circular whirl that you'd expect from a carousel. So the actual seats themselves are going to rotate. They're going to rise and drop 6 feet, they said. The inside of the dome and the outside is obviously decorated on the art, but the inside of the dome is supposed to be fully decorated for passenger view and covered with lights for park guests. They say it features a, quote, star tracker on the ceiling of the dome that creates rotating star patterns. There's not going to be a height requirement to ride with an adult, but if you want to ride alone, it's going to be 48 inches. However, it does say no, quote, handheld infants. This may come up in a couple different attractions where they don't have a set height requirement if you're with an adult, just no handheld infants. I did some research and I didn't find a different manufacturer so far, other than just seeing that maybe Universal Creative may have designed most of the aspects of this. They may have gotten assistance, but who knows? And it looks like this is going to be geared obviously towards kids and family. I mean, I'm going to ride it, but it's going to be geared for kids. The animated fly-through looks to have about 25 to 30 ride vehicles. It looks like some of the ride vehicles are 2-seaters inline straddle seating on the one horse, like on the one animal, kind of like a normal carousel seating. It also looks like there's going to be some multi-person carriages with bench seating and maybe a straddle in the middle for those. So it looks like there's possibly like a horse with a straddle in the middle and then bench seating kind of behind it and off to the side of it. So maybe a kid can sit in the middle while their parents kind of sit on the outside. Who knows, or guardian, you know. That seems interesting given that we're gonna have a no height requirement on this ride if you're with an adult. So we'll see about that one. There are also some carriages that don't have a straddle seat and just have bench seating. I imagine hopefully that's for maybe accessibility accommodation. Maybe the bench seat folds up since there's not a straddle seat in the middle so that someone can go through. We'll see here. These are all new ride systems, so there's obviously a hope that some accessibility will be built into there somehow. Each of the ride carriages have its own light pole attached to it that goes from the bottom up, so not from floor to ceiling like most carousels that we're seeing, but only coming from the bottom of the floor to the ride vehicle itself, and then another pole somewhere coming off the top of the ride vehicle with a light on top. Maybe these will have functionality to help with the speed of loading, who knows. There's not a restraint system that I can see in this. This is all from the animated fly-through, obviously, so we'll probably have on-ride videos soon. Team members were allowed to get previews of Celestial Park, so given this ride doesn't have a height limit, I think that it would probably only be seat belts or nothing in some cases. Probably the ride I'm the most excited for, just because I am like a coaster junkie. This one here is going to be Stardust Racers, the first mock launched coaster to ever come to Florida. So we don't have many mocks in Florida. I mean, we had Sand Serpent before it got taken out, which was older. Other than that, we did have Cobra's Curse opens up. We now have a mock spinning coaster. So now we get our first mock adult coaster. It's not going to be spinning, but it'll be launched, so that'll be fun. It looks to be the same ride model as Manta at San Diego or Copperhead Strike at Carowinds in North Carolina. It's going to have about 5,000 feet per track of tracks. It's going to be 10,000 feet combined for the 2 separate rides. These won't be mirrored layouts. They're going to be dueling each other, kind of like dueling dragons, but with a completely different layout. It's going to be 62 miles per hour top speed, a top height of 133 feet tall. So this is probably going to be well paced because most of these elements are going to be lower to the ground. It's a very custom layout and seems to have a very custom, nice lighting package on it. There's 2 separate launches per track. So it's going to be a multi-launch coaster as well. And there's a 48-inch height requirement listed. It doesn't give a supervised height aside from the normal 48-inch height requirement. So I'm not sure if the unsupervised will be higher and the 48 will be the supervised. We'll see there. The restraints are lap bars that lower from overheads, which are my favorite, with adequately spaced seats for the flow of people. So hopefully this will be somewhat of a people eater. There's a keyhole in the back of the seats with what looks to be a latch attached to every headset, probably for, I'm not sure what that's for, maybe for evac situations. There's a handle at the front of the restraints for rider comfort, might make checking them a little bit faster. It looks like it's an airtime beast with all the hills. It's definitely primarily focused on airtime here. There's going to be 4 riders per car, 5 cars per train, so that's going to be about 20 riders per train. The same seating arrangement as all the other coasters coming to Epic Universe. So every single one of them actually that are coming so far are 4 riders a car, 5 cars per train, and 20 riders per train in total. Based on similar coasters operated efficiently, so similar coasters operated by the Walt Disney World Company and by Universal. There's only one. I can't see exactly how many platforms there's going to be. I know there's the station. If there's only one platform for loading and unloading, I feel like I'm taking shots in the dark here based on my own hypothesis in math. It'll probably have about 1,300 riders an hour per track if there's only one station, and that would be combined at 2,600, which is great. But if they had separate load and unload platforms, I feel like we would have around a 1,700 an hour, so that might be around 3,500 an hour combined, which would be really crazy. Maybe a slightly higher people per hour due to the fact that they have larger space rows based on my comparisons to Velocicoaster and Cosmic Rewinds and Manta at San Diego. Next up is the Isle of Berk. I was never super into How to Train Your Dragons as a kid. Don't hate me, y'all. But I did watch the first movie and I don't remember any of it. And it's a really cute series. So this is themed to How to Train Your Dragon, of course. It's going to be geared towards families with younger kids. There's a lot of interactive stuff. It looks like there's going to be Viking meet and greets and dragon meet and greets. And they say there's going to be overhead views of dragons. And I believe those are just going to be drones flying over periodically. The main attraction here is Hiccup's Wing Gliders. Another coaster. Again, we're at the 4 riders per car, 5 cars per train. So 20 people per train. It's going to be 45 miles per hour max speed, 40 inches tall with an adult, 48 inches without supervision. It's made by Intamin and it's their family multi-launch coaster. It's going to be similar to Zycon at Fuji-Q Highlands in Japan, or possibly like Gold Rush at Drayton Manor, except it's going to have LSM launches like Zycon instead of the tire launches like Gold Rush. And it'll have sit-down seating like Gold Rush instead of the straddle like Zycon. It looks like there's 2 launches from the overhead footage I can see. It's going to give great views of Isle of Berk, traveling all around the lands. It's got a double station layout with 1 platform per station for loading and unloading, it looks like. So I think there's probably going to be around 1,700 per person actual capacity, maybe a little less, who knows. It's around 3,300 to maybe 4,000 feet if the average speed is 25 to 30 miles an hour. Again, best guesstimates, we're not sure. The Untrainable Dragon is the show coming. That show already opened up in Beijing. It features a 27-foot wide, 1,157 pound giant toothless puppet that'll soar over the audience, or maybe like an animatronic-ish situation. The show opened as Untrainable at Universal Beijing in 2021 and has been very well received ever since then. It's obviously geared towards family. We're gonna have multiple dragon puppets and large show set, almost in line with probably a Disney show. Next up is Dragon Racers Rally. These are Gerstlauer Skyfly attractions. There's 2 of them for a capacity of 24 people per cycle, coming in at around 240 to 360 guests an hour, depending on the duration. So around 480 to 720 guests an hour with 2 of the attractions. Same ride type as Amara Aviators at Lost Island in Iowa and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shell Shock over at the Mall of America in Minnesota. This is going to be the first ride ever to be built by Gerstlauer in the state. We do have some rides that have had seats built by them before. The only ones I was able to find in my research were seats and restraints designed by them in Mind Blower at Fun Spot Kissimmee, which I've been on multiple times, and the now defunct Orlando Freefall. We're going to have a custom ride experience, so however many spins that you as the rider are able to pull off, we're going to be as many spins as you get. The record number of flips is currently held by Ian Septum, the associate controls engineer for the ride, at 26 per cycle. We have 26 per cycle to beat. It is going to be a family to thrill attraction, probably closer towards the older teens because you can potentially flip as many times as you would like, or up to 26 times. Fire Drill is a mock splash battle. It's a similar ride model to the Quest for Chi at Legoland in Winter Haven and Tom and Huck's River Blasts at Silver Dollar City in Missouri. There's no minimum height requirement if you're riding with an adult, no handheld infants. The water cannons on here are going to blast 28 feet into the air, so this is going to be a little crazy. I've never seen one of these. It looks like there are elements that are also going to spray your boat throughout the attraction. There's going to be targets for you to aim for. Obviously, you can shoot your water at the other boats to get people wet. It's all going to be outdoor, perfect for hot days. It looks like you can also spray other people that are outside on lands next to the attraction and battle with them as well. This has an Omnimover station for capacity flow. I do think that you're going to get fully soaked in this attraction in comparison to some of the other water rides that we have around Orlando. It seems to be very densely themed. There's a lot packed into this small area, and I'm not exactly sure what the capacity is going to be. I do know that this is definitely going to be a family to kids attraction, probably more towards kids. So next up, we are heading to Dark Universe. Dark Universe is going to be my favorite lands, most likely. We have interactive elements, electricity buzzing in the Manor's Tower, the fiery windmill. We have the roaming monsters coming out. This is definitely going to be geared as a land for older kids / young adults. There might be some intense or more intense theming here, but this land is definitely going to stand out at night for sure with all of the lights and the fire and the electricity. The main attraction here is Monsters in Chains, the Frankenstein experiment. It is in the main manor with the electricity buzzing at the middle. It is a Kuka arm based simulator with vehicles along a track, similar to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey at Islands of Adventure, minus the sightline blocking enclosure. So we're not going to have that big stuff over our heads. This is most likely going to be built by Kuka, maybe RoboCoaster with help from Universal Creative. These are the most advanced animated figures produced by Universal, it looks like. They move very fast and they lunge. There is an organ theme to the Phantom of the Opera inside with 14 different 3-foot tall flames that dance to the music. And there's going to be a 48-inch height requirement. Looks like it's going to have a large capacity. Journeys is around 3,000 hourly, so I expect this to be similar. Curse of the Werewolf is the next attraction in the land. It's a mock spinning coaster. They chose to just go with the family thrill mock spinner, so similar to Cobra's Curse. Again, we're going with 4 seats, 5 cars, 20 per train. There's going to be a swing launch through a mysterious shed past some monsters. Its max speed is going to be 37 miles per hour. There's going to be LSM launches, not tire drives. It's going to have a 40-inch height requirement. I am not sure what the hourly capacity is. Based on my best guess, around 1,400 maybe. Swing launch varies, and I'm not exactly sure about the station. Super Nintendo World is one that I'm sure y'all are all extremely excited for. I'm very excited for. All of my friends are the most excited for. This land first opened in Japan in 2021, so we've been patiently waiting for 4 years now, and I feel like 4 years has been forever. This is definitely going to be geared for families, although know all ages are going to enjoy this. You can see a lot of kids, a lot of adults, a lot of everyone acting like an overgrown kid, at least. This is going to be probably one of the most interactive lands that we've ever seen in Orlando by far. They have power-up bands for you to buy, kind of similar to those magic bands at Disney, but it looks like the interactiveness in the land is going to be a step above what we've seen before, with mini games and different roaming characters and things. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge is the centerpiece attraction here. We already know a lot about this attraction. It's going to be 40 inches tall with an adult, 48-inch height requirement without one. This is going to have augmented reality headsets with a mixture of physical props and screens, which we all know Universal has been very good at in the past. The ride vehicles are modeled after Mario Kart 8 carts, and there is no hourly capacity that I can see reported. From the videos that I can see from Japan, the videos leading up to on-ride POVs and such, in the station, it looks like there is a 25-second loading time per vehicle with 4 people per vehicle. The duration seems to be about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. That's 280 seconds divided by 25-second loading times is about 12 times 60 is 720. 720 times 4, because there's 4 seats, is about 2,880 for their max hourly capacity. Again, random numbers I thought of, what I've been able to come up with. Minecart Madness is coming. I did lie with the roller coasters because not all of the roller coasters are 5 cars, 4 seats each car for 20 riders in total each train. These trains are 4 riders per car, and 1 car is each train. So kind of like a Wild Mouse coaster. We're only going to be in 1 small vehicle. It's a new boom coaster designed by Universal Creative, built by JR Automation, which is formerly Set Point and Sansei, not SNS, just Sansei. 40 inches with an adult is going to be the height requirement, 48 inches without. It looks like a family thrill attraction. There's going to be a fake and a real track so that we can jump the fake track at times. There's no hourly capacity that I can see from any of the videos, and I refuse to watch a POV for that coaster. Yoshi's Adventure is another attraction coming to the park. It's an Omni-Mover style attraction, so it's going to be continuously moving. 38 inches height requirement, 48 inches without an adult. It's definitely going to be family 2 kids. There's going to be 2 riders per Yoshi car, and they're all going to be connected. Universal Creative has designed this coaster. Pedia says MTS Systems has manufactured this. I can't find credits anywhere else for that though. It's definitely going to provide scenic views around the land like the People Mover at the Magic Kingdom. There's no hourly capacity. The video from Japan shows vehicles passing roughly every 10 seconds, it looks like. The duration of the ride seems to be about 5.5 minutes. So that's about 330 seconds. Divided by 10 seconds is 33. 33 times 60 is 1980. Times 2 is 3,960 for a max hourly rating. Who knows? It definitely seems like it's going to take a lot of people, going to be a people eater. The last land that we have is Ministry of Magic. This is the Harry Potter universe themed. There's only going to be 1 attraction. It'll be Battle of the Ministry of Magic. It's going to have a 40-inch height requirement. It's going to be a family to thrill simulator. It's going to be designed by Universal Creative with the vehicles by SimTech. These are really big ride vehicles. 14 passengers per vehicle. They're going to move up, down, left, right, forwards, and backwards. We can't be sure what the hourly capacity will be yet, but we will find out later through videos or through visiting. My ticket's in June. All the park rides combined max hourly capacity is around 17,060. That's not accounting for the rides that I'm not sure about, like Fire Drill and Ministry of Magic, or any of the non-ride based attractions like shows. So I imagine this will be closer to about 20,000 with Ministry of Magic and Fire Drill just for rides alone. And Epcot's around 20,000 just for rides alone for perspective. So this park is gonna have a park-wide hourly capacity of around the same as Epcot. So expect waits to be, once the newness of the park calms down, I would expect the waits to be similarly spread out once the newness wears off. That is all I know about Epic Universe. We'll have to see from team members, their coming videos and interviews with them on how Celestial Park is. It's February, so we got 3 months until this park opens. I'm sure there will be many videos. I will be there in June, like I said, and I will be filming as well, most likely. I only have 1 day. So there's going to be a lot of filming and a lot of writing because I want to get y'all some reviews. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.